Our next speaker is Professor Marijka Batterham. Marijka is a dietitian interested in biostatistics and weight management, and she is investigating how data mining can determine the characteristics of people who drop out of weight loss trials and programs. And armed with this information, she's seeking to better design more effective diets. So please welcome to the stage Professor Marijka Batterham.
We want to help people lose weight and maintain a healthy diet. Losing weight is hard, and sticking to a diet of any kind is difficult for most people. Analysis on data sets overseas has shown that people who are more likely to be successful at weight loss have certain characteristics. For example, they weigh themselves frequently and exercise for an hour a day. Everyone wants to focus on the success story, the biggest loser. My question is, what about the dropout? What happens to all the ones that don't finish the race? 53% of participants dropped out of our last weight loss trial. What was it about these people that made them not finish the diet? Were the ones that were successful different to the ones that dropped out? What if we could work out why they dropped out of the study? Could we use this information to develop better diets? My big idea has been to use data mining to predict who will drop out of weight loss trials. Using a simple algorithm, we can predict who is likely to drop out early in the study. We can then use this information to develop tailor-made diets. Firstly, I needed to identify what things might cause people to drop out of weight loss diets. I started by thinking about what we know contributes to weight gain in the first place. There are many factors. Some of these, like genes and nutrition in the womb, are really difficult to change. Then there are lifestyle factors, like lack of sleep and exercise and overeating. Physical characteristics such as age and gender, psychological factors, for example, stress and anxiety, and demographic factors, like occupation, may also affect weight. The obesogenic environment, which refers to a lack of access to parks and green spaces and an overabundance of unhealthy food outlets, is difficult to control for an individual. The food industry is also implicated. Many of you will be familiar with images such as this one, showing the relative change in portion sizes of common foods over the past 20 years. In developing a model to predict who would drop out of our studies, I wanted to look at simple factors that we measured as part of our trials to see which ones had the biggest impact on dropout. Age, gender, type of occupation, activity levels, general well-being, caloric intake, and compliance with the diet through measuring weight loss were the factors I used to put in the model. The data I used to develop the model was from dietary weight loss trials we have run here at the University of Wollongong, where we have engaged the food industry and food companies to look at the effects of increasing fibre, different types of protein from animal and plant sources, increasing vegetable intake, or manipulating fatty acids like omega-3s. The studies I looked at lasted up to 12 months. It didn't matter what type of diet people followed, the dropout rates were around 40 to 50%. The first approach I used was to look at paths of weight loss during the study. In weight loss trials, just like on TV, all the focus is on the endpoint. Success is defined as a weight loss of 5% or more at the end of the study. But if half the people aren't making it to the end of the study, we needed to look at what was happening along the way. After all, as the saying goes, it's not where you end up that matters, it's the journey. What I did was use a statistical model to cluster people into different paths of weight loss over the 12 months of the study. 3 distinct patterns of weight loss emerged. The first group, I called the rapid weight loss group, had already lost an average of 9% of their body weight by 3 months and continued to lose weight until 6 months when the weight loss plateaued. Only a small proportion of people in this group dropped out. The second group, called the maintainers, had a pretty good initial weight loss and continued to lose weight slowly throughout the study. More people in this group dropped out. A third group, called the regainers, lost a small amount of weight over the first 6 months and then tended to regain weight over the rest of the study period. People following this path were the most likely to drop out. So what factors were associated with these weight loss patterns? The first thing I identified was that the early period of weight loss was really important in predicting how people would progress through the study. By 1 month, the die was cast. Secondly, older participants were more likely to be in the rapid group, and there was a trend for those being retired to do better. Weight loss studies require a great deal of time commitment, and perhaps this group were more available for the appointments. We've also found that older participants find it easier to stick to a meal plan. After establishing the factors associated with these weight loss paths, I went on to use data mining to find an algorithm we could use to predict dropout. When doing data mining, you normally use a number of different methods and compare the accuracy to determine which one is the best fit for your data. Data mining is somewhat of an art form, and sometimes you have to make a trade-off between a really accurate model and one that might be useful in your setting. In our trials, we want a model that is accurate but simple to understand. If it works in our trial, we can translate this to a general message for everyone, so we don't want it to be too complicated. I considered a number of different data mining methods for predicting an outcome. These included neural networks, support vector machines, regression, boosting, random forests, and decision trees. Neural networks are very popular. These are the basis of a lot of AI applications. They are called neural nets after the biological neural networks in the brain, where inputs are received by synapses, processed, and passed on to joining synapses. In data mining, the synapses are called nodes, and there is usually at least 2 layers of these. The slide here shows the neural network for predicting dropout in our studies. I'm not going to go into detail about the interpretation because although this model might be good for predicting dropout, it's too complicated to be easily used. The method I decided to use was a decision or classification tree. It's called a decision tree because it starts with a single root and then it branches off into a number of solutions just like a tree. They are particularly useful as they are graphics which can help you see or visualize the model. The decision tree picks the most important variables and then categorizes them by finding a cut point that can be used to predict an outcome. Using this algorithm, the key predictor of whether or not participants would drop out was their weight loss at 1 month into the study. Those who had lost less than or equal to 2% at 1 month were 5 times more likely to drop out than those who had lost more than 2%. The average starting weight in our studies was 88 kilograms. For someone at this weight, 2% at 1 month would be a 1.8 kilogram weight loss. This is consistent with guidelines for healthy weight loss, where a loss of around 0.5 to 1 kilo a week is recommended. So what can we do with this information? Weight loss trials are really expensive to conduct, and this information can be used to design better dietary approaches. Regardless of the type of diet people are following, if they've lost more than 2% by 1 month, they're doing well and they should keep going. If they haven't lost more than 2% of their starting weight by 1 month, then they're more likely to drop out. If we want to maintain the weight loss and keep people in the studies, we need to change what we are recommending for people with low initial weight loss. I don't have the answer yet about what sort of new approach can be used. However, targeting the causes of weight gain that we can work on, such as increasing exercise and addressing psychological contributors, may be a start. These factors might be different for each person, and further analysis may lead to a more individualised plan. Focusing on early weight loss in our trials and changing the approach for those who are likely to drop out could reduce the number of people we need in our studies and make them cheaper to run. More importantly, my big idea is going to help work out strategies to get everyone to the finish line.